We were pretty famous back in high school.
Trust us. Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous. Matthew's Peak? Starring one Matthew Schlegel. Matthew's Peak. It's a natural disaster film. Isn't that what Dante's Peak was? A volcano movie?
Yes.
Did you see it?
I'm pretty sure I probably have. It came out oddly close to another volcano disaster movie.
Yes, I was trying to think of the title of that one as well as you brought it up. But I remember thinking, wow, we have two very similar volcano-related movies.
I think Dante's Peak starred Pierce Brosnan, if I'm correct.
One of them definitely did.
And the other one was Tommy Lee Jones. The one I can't think of the title of. I hope it wasn't just called Volcano.
It might just be called Volcano.
Stupid.
It may just be called Volcano. Let me do some on-the-fly research.
John's going to do some research. They both came out, I want to say, the same year. Because for some reason, different studios always like to put out movies that are very similar around the same time.
So in 1997, there was released a movie starring Tommy Lee Jones entitled Volcano.
It was just called Volcano, and that is upsetting.
Just called Volcano, starring Tommy Lee Jones, the late Anne Heche, and Gabby Hoffman. Now let's look up Dante's Peak, which may have been released the same year. 1997. Dante's Peak, Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton.
Yes.
The one, Sarah Connor. Yes, from Terminators 1 and 2, and then one of the more recent ones. Yes. She was also in. I don't remember the name of that Terminator movie. I remember there's one called Salvation, and that's all I know, besides 1 and 2. Was there a 3 that was just called 3? I don't remember. There was Terminator, then there was T2 Judgment Day, and then the only one that I know for sure was Terminator Salvation.
There was also, I think, Genesis.
That sounds right. Was that the one with what's his nuts?
Sure. Yeah.
Christian Bale?
No, I thought that was Salvation.
Salvation?
I don't know. I don't watch movies anymore.
You don't? Where's your lust for life? All right, let's see. Okay, well, this isn't maybe the right order. We got most popular matches. So we've got the Terminator, 1984. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, 91. Then on this particular list, the next one we have is Terminator Salvation, which was 2009.
Okay.
Then we have 2015, Terminator Genesis. And then Terminator Dark Fate 2019. This is with the return of Linda Hamilton. There may be others in between.
There had to be one. Yeah, there had to be one before 2009. That could not have been the third one.
This was just a basic IMDb search for the word Terminator. So let's see what else we can find.
I think the best thing to do is to go into Wikipedia.
This is not going to be productive, this list. Referring to this list, there's too many things with the word Terminator in it. Like a 2024 TV series starring Timothy Olyphant called Terminator Zero, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah, go to the old wiki. Let's see what wiki
I'm there right now.
has to say.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. That was in 2003. For some reason, it did not list that one for whatever reason.
I recall that title now.
Yeah. And then it was Salvation, which I think was the one with
Christian Bale. Mm-hmm.
And then Genesis, then Dark Fate.
Oh, good for you.
So, for whatever reason, it only skipped the one that we couldn't think of the name of in the list you had.
Rise of the Machines. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe according to IMDb, that's the least favorite.
Probably.
It's
an awful movie.
That doesn't mean it shouldn't show up in a list of movies with the word Terminator in it.
Well, that is true.
IMDb isn't here to give us its opinion. IMDb is just to show us what movies came out when, who they starred, what year they came out, and producer, director, and other facts like that. Give us a little bit of the synopsis, give us some trivia, give us a rating reason. That's what IMDb is for. I don't want your opinion, IMDb. It's okay if you report it's okay if you report the opinions of critics at the time, audience ratings, perhaps like a Rotten Tomatoes type of a system. But I don't personally want to know what you, Internet Movie Database, thinks about the third installment in the Terminator franchise.
I'm surprised another Terminator-style movie didn't come out that same year.
Starring Pierce Brosnan?
Possibly.
Or Tommy Lee Jones?
Or Sylvester Stallone, because him and Arnold Schwarzenegger were always kind of competing.
Yes.
Back in the day. Or maybe they could have finally gotten O.J. Simpson to do it.
The Juice?
Like they originally wanted.
That's right. He was the first one. He was the first choice for the Terminator.
But James Cameron couldn't see him as a killer.
Huh. Well, we're not all perfect. We're none of us perfect, Matt. Not even one Jim Cameron.
Yeah, not even OJ.
Who apparently a few days ago there was some video posted about him revealing some new information about that whole submersible that imploded. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why he's been like listed as the expert on this just because he made a Titanic movie.
Because he went down to the Titanic a ton of times, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm sure there are plenty of. I'm sure there are others that have gone down to the Titanic site more than him.
Oh yeah, I would say probably whoever was bringing him down there.
Probably.
That'd be one person at least.
I mean, he also, his last Avatar movie was about being in water. So, I mean, why not go to him?
If anybody knows about water,
it's James Cameron.
It's James Cameron.
I mean, Titanic,
Dasani,
Avatar, The Way of the Water, Titanic deleted scenes, Terminator 3, pool fight.
Rise of the Oceans.
Rise of the Ocean Waves. Hang 10, bro. Grab that gnarly wave and ride it into the sunset. Dude. Tubular. Wax my board. I've got shorts on. Long flowing blonde hair that's wet.
You couldn't sound more Midwestern right now. If you tried.
Pack my lunch in a bag.
Okay, I stand corrected.
I'm a surfer, don't you know?
I hate that fake ass.
I know, I did that on Purpose. True
so
Lies,
much.
Very water-based. There's a
Are you
scene
just gonna
where...
list all of James Cameron movies now?
This is what I do now.
This show just becomes this thing where one person just lists off. We just get on a topic and then we just list everything. We list other people's accomplishments.
Look, don't say one person does it. Don't say one person does it.
Well, it's you.
Yeah, it's what I do now.
Yeah,
it's what I do now. Look,
start listing our accomplishments, Sean.
We made a very short movie called Saturday the 14th. We made another movie called Every Hit's a Slap in the Face. We made another movie called Petting Zoos Aren't Open on Thanksgiving. And then we failed to complete making Saturday the 14th a second. And we failed to make a movie called White Suburban Gangsters. And we failed to do anything else. We performed in a lip sync talent show.
Our accomplishments, not our failures.
We
don't bring up the failures. We haven't accomplished those yet, so they're not. We'll eventually list those under our accomplishments.
You moved to Chicago after being born and raised in Minnesota.
This is the worst episode we've ever recorded.
I've had 3 houses, but now I have none. I have a dog. You have 2 cats. We have jobs that earn money so we can live lavish lifestyles.
I would say the dog was more so something you got stuck with.
You were in the newspaper for bringing an umbrella to the graduation ceremony of our high school. You were in several parades for being Roger's most handsome bachelor, most eligible.
That's a weird thing to say about a kid in the first grade.
Well, not when the potential suitors are young girls that are in the first grade. It's very age appropriate there.
People shouldn't be. You shouldn't say suitors.
Fine. You
whatever age you are in first grade. What? I don't know.
You were in several parades for being Roger's most adorable little tyke. How's that?
Sure. I don't know I honestly have no idea what the criteria for picking me was. I'd be actually kind of interested to know why I was chosen.
Oh, I drew
for me, I'm a minority.
I drew the picture that would end up being on the cover of my 6th grade yearbook. I won that contest.
There you go.
I won a Skills USA competition in college. And I wasn't even trying very hard.
That's just how skilled you are.
That's just how USA I am.
What was the skill?
I forget. It was like the whole thing is called Skills USA. We I think we just filmed something that talked about what kind of classes are offered at the college. I don't remember. We filmed some people sawing some boards in half, I remember. And I don't remember much else of it, really. There was a shot of the American flag at one point and some music. There's a little shot of me in a video for a training, like an employee sort of orientation video for Eric's Bike Shop, which is now called Eric's Bike and Board.
How's board spelled?
BOARD.
Oh, okay.
Like surfboard, hang 10 bro. Catch those waves, gnarly. Flower shorts. Shredded. I don't know. And what else have we done?
Not much, man.
Everyone. They say in order to be
going.
They say in order to be a professional at something, you need to log in 1,000 hours of practice. And so once we hit our roughly 980th or so episode, then we'll probably be able to consider ourselves, good at this. We're just not there yet.
It's true. That's true.
So
yeah. From my experience listening to podcasts, it takes about almost 1,000 episodes before they really hit their stride.
I don't listen to any podcast that has fewer than 1,000 episodes, except
I don't listen to any podcasts.
Several exceptions. Well, that's because none of them are good enough for you. You are very, very particular.
I'm at this point in my life right now where I either can't make decisions on what to listen to or watch, or just nothing is appealing to me at all anymore.
Yeah. Like you've seen it all, rough. You've done it all.
It's not even that. It's just I don't know what it is. It's just I just get really uninterested very quickly now.
I think that you found stuff that you really enjoy and you just continue to re-consume those things.
No, so the reason the actual reason behind that is because doing that is easier than making a decision on something new. Or I know I at least won't be disappointed if I watch something I already know I enjoy or listen to something I know I already enjoy. So I've been, it's been really hard for me to like, I'll especially if I hear like, oh, this movie's so good, you got to check out this movie. It's still for me to sit down and start something I've never seen before and just like, I don't know. I either have to just force myself to do it, and then eventually I'm like, okay, yeah, that was enjoyable, I'm glad I watched it. Or I just really have to like psych myself up for something.
All right. So next time I'm over in your neck of the woods,
okay,
I'll do just that. I'll force you to watch something that I consider to be good. I'll tie you down to the bed, get you in your skivvies, and hit play, and then we'll just see what happens. We'll see if you end up enjoying yourself based on that type of viewing experience.
Why are you going to tie me to my bed?
I can feed you so you can't get away and go, I hate this show or movie. I'm not going to watch it.
What am I going to watch it on then?
The TV.
There's no TV near my bed. I don't have a TV in my bedroom.
We will work it out. I can play it on my phone.
You're just going to hold your phone in front of my face the entire time?
I'll get some type of a tripod.
Whatever else you're doing.
I'll get some type of
now naked.
Look, no. I said you're in your skivvies, right? What are we? This is
okay.
Nothing.
So you're gonna take all my clothes off, then put skivvies on me, and then tie me to the bed.
Wait, you didn't already have them on? I gotta rethink this. Yeah. So I'll get some sort of apparatus, a tripod of some kind that can secure the phone, keep it in place, and then. If you get hungry, I can feed you, maybe pour some chocolate syrup on you or something in case you get hot and you need something to cool you off because you don't like to have the AC going in your place. You got fans in the windows and stuff. Well, I don't know that. I'm not there yet. What temperature do you like to keep your place at in the sun?
Whatever temperature
it's capable of reaching.
Yeah, basically, as long as it's not boilingly hot. I have window units, so I don't really get to control what the temperature stays at. It's either hot or it's cold.
So would you say it's hot or cold right now?
It's actually, I would say it's comfortable at the moment because the ACs have been running on low for days.
The funny thing about, I'm not sure if this is the same where you are, but here anyway, in effect until sometime tomorrow afternoon is a excess heat watch, right? So just to avoid being outside for too long because of the excess amounts of heat, while at the same time it being rainy all day and having a high of 70 degrees.
Interesting.
Yeah, so somehow I'm not sure where those two things line up, but they're not, something doesn't make sense here, weather folks.
Meanwhile, here it is dry as fuck and currently 81 degrees.
Well, you probably have our heat. Give us our heat.
The next 4 days are going to be over 90.
Now, tomorrow's
not a raindrop in sight.
Tomorrow is expected to be about 89 and sunny, so maybe the heat thing is for tomorrow, really.
Maybe. I am not looking forward to the next 4 days of 90-degree weather.
I know you're not going to be able to wear where I'm at right now. You're not going to be able to wear a long sleeve black shirt.
No, I'll have to put on some skivvies.
Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would that be your way of cooling off, by adding a layer that you're not currently wearing?
I would have to put them on because otherwise I would not be wearing anything. And that's inappropriate.
But you said you're just going to be right there. So
yeah,
who cares if it's just you there? Who cares?
Take all these layers off and then put on some skivvies. I don't want my cats staring at my dong because they stare.
Don't show it to them.
They'll be here.
Wear wear a leaf in the front.
They might think it's a treat and go after it.
Do you feed them leaves often?
Not a leaf. I'm still talking about my dong.
Oh, gotcha.
They might think that's a treat.
Yeah, but then they'll get up close and smell it and realize it is not. It is nothing.
No, then they'll think it's some sort of dying animal, and then they'll try to present it to me as a gift. And I'm like, it's already on me.
they'll play with it first. They'll kind of bat it around with their paws for a little bit before they do that. So that could be some.
I don't need that.
That could be some. Early
myself.
But yeah, you know what? Close your eyes, pretend it's someone else's cat, and you'll be good to go.
That's not how that works at all.
What, you get
sit in your hand, make a note.
You don't get turned on by other people's cats?
Not particularly, no.
Well, none of your current neighbors.
I like the appeal of other people's cats because they're not my cats, and I don't have to take care of them. So I'm like, oh, that must be nice. Or I mean, that's nice to me, knowing that those aren't cats I have to fucking take care of.
So you don't like to take care of cats, or is it just that you?
I just don't. I just know the pain of taking care of cats, and I don't want to take care of anybody else's.
So you don't want to take care of more cats. So whenever you see cats that aren't your cats, you're like, thank goodness that I don't also have to take care of those cats in addition to my cats.
Yeah.
But you enjoy having cats.
My cats are fine, yeah.
That's not really an answer to my question.
I enjoy having my cats, yes.
All right, good. You'll have them for a while, I'm sure.
At least a few more years, yeah.
Yeah. What's their day-to-day these days? Do they have any, you get them anything new and shiny recently? Any fun cat stuff?
No, just bought them some food and litter.
Okay.
That was about it.
No,
they don't play. They have a ton of toys, but they don't play with them.
Same with my dog. But, do they have any scratching posts?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about a nice little cat brush? Get some of that fur out of there. Shed some of their coat for the summer.
A few brushes, yes.
Yeah.
I don't brush them very often.
Okay. Well, maybe they're due for a good old brushing. You could do that tomorrow. Give your cats a good brushing. Brush those cats.
My one cat doesn't care for that. And my other cat, he'll take it, but I don't know.
Look, sometimes it's not just about making the cat happy and not putting it through something it considers unpleasant. It's what's best for the cat. That cat, despite your cat's feelings about being brushed, it needs to be brushed.
Yeah. Well, cats are very fickle creatures. And when they don't like something that you're doing, they tend to not put up with it.
Well, that's natural. That's any animal.
I don't know. Dogs are pretty good with at least listening when you tell them to stop fighting back. They're let me
fight you? Stop fighting back?
Dogs are more of like, if you look at it as like an abusive relationship, the dogs will take it.
Gotcha.
Like the dog is the submissive one in the relationship of, even if they don't like it, they'll take it and they'll tell the other dogs like, oh no, it was for my own good. Like, but he loves me.
I deserve that.
Yeah, like he didn't mean it.
Now you can't use it's different when we're alone argument, because that is just you and the dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So where's that go?
Nowhere.
Man, I just looked up. I looked up internet list of fun, and what came up was some ways to have fun on the internet.
Great.
Should I read them off?
I can only imagine. This is great. Yeah, I can't. I mean, this is the equivalent of looking up conversation starters.
That's where we're at. So one thing you can do to have fun on the internet is to play free games in your browser, your web browser.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Another one is just to stream movies and TV shows. We talked about that earlier. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, we already talked about that. Mm-hmm,
yeah. Mm-hmm. The next one is to explore the Internet Archive, which I guess is just to view websites.
The entire archive of the internet?
I guess just like look up, maybe I don't know, look up old websites and see if they're still around. You know, check out your MySpace page. Check out GoDaddy.
Yeah,
check
GoDaddy
out.
Still exists.
It's still old. It doesn't mean it's not old.
I suppose.
Jeez. You can see what's
still up.
You can see what's trending on YouTube, like HS Famous Pod.
Yeah,
you could subscribe to HS Famous Pod on YouTube. That should be number 1 on this list.
Yeah,
not number 4. Maybe it's because
number 1 on our list.
Maybe it's because it didn't specify HS Famous Pod. If it did specify that, because it had to consider all of the people that already did that, and so it didn't want to put it at the top of the list or specify it. You know,
all of those people.
You can make AI art with DALL-E. Is something you can do that's fun on the internet. That's something fun you can do.
Yeah.
You can discover a new webcomic, like one I don't think you can access anymore called Explain It to Me, Mr. Do. I don't think you can even view it anywhere. Yeah. Maybe on Facebook. But yeah,
what
you
about,
could just...
what was the other one called? Happy Joyful or some shit?
No, there was another one called Wonderful Joyful.
Wonderful Joyful.
That was the one. And I don't know where that one was. Was that on just WordPress?
I have no idea what happened to that.
Yeah, but you could try to see if that's still somewhere on the internet. Wonderful Joyful, and or Explain It to Me, Mr. Do. Those are some fun webcomics you could discover after listening to watching everything that's available on YouTube. From the
good news about both those webcomics is there's not a lot to get through, so you won't feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. It's not like 12 seasons of a TV show. No,
it's like barely. It's like a pilot.
The Explain It to Me, Mr. Do webcomic was less. It ran for less than a year. Right. I don't remember how many months, but I know to the best of our abilities, we did, I think, 3 posts a week. So, give it a try. Check it out.
I'd be interested to see if that's still out there anywhere.
You could listen to a new podcast, like one called High School Famous.
If they're currently listening to you, giving them advice to listen to this podcast, they're already listening to this podcast.
Well, let's look at this from a different angle.
A short.
No.
Put it out there.
No, we could this could be a different angle. We could look at it. We could say in about a week's time, they could listen to the next episode, and that would be a new podcast. Just give it time, people. Cool. We're not going to post an episode sooner than a week from this one. You could also create some music in Chrome Music Lab. Have you ever done that on the internet?
I have not. I didn't know that existed.
Well, that's what's useful about this list. You can discover new things and new ways to enjoy the internet that you didn't know of before, like playing a free game in your web browser, like chess, or word find, perhaps some Sudoku, perhaps some solitaire, Minesweeper. Yes, that's a possibility. I'm sure you can find some retro modern version of Oregon Trail, perhaps. Some Number Munchers. I
don't think people are playing Number Munchers for fun.
Some Galaga or Galaga, however you pronounce it in your region or household.
I call it Asteroid Shooter.
It's okay. But as far as the game that is titled Asteroids. GALAGA, is that how you spell it?
Dude, I don't know.
Look, I'm barely treading water over here, Matt. GALAGA. Here's a poll for you out there. Is it Galaga or Galaga? Or do you just call it Asteroids?
No, I call Asteroids. It's a different game.
Okay. Well, when I said, is it Galaga or Galaga, you said it's Asteroids.
I was just joking around.
Well, it landed, and it landed hard. Well, Matt, what have ye been? What? Why? Well,
that's
okay.
It's never a good question. It's never gonna. Here's the thing. Okay.
Oh, because it's you. Because it's you.
If I've been up to something, trust that I will bring it up.
Trust.
Very well. That I will bring up something that I've done. I'm literally at this moment trying to think of if I have done anything in the last week since we have last talked.
You know what you should do? When we
last talked, I had already talked about going to a street fair that I had gone to recently, and I think that's the most recent thing I've done. So
you know what we both should do?
Get a fucking life.
Well,
it's just me.
Speak for yourself, but we should journal daily, and then if there's anything anything that's interesting that we did during the week that we journaled about, we can talk about it here.
I would literally, my journal would be so fucking empty if I'm only writing down interesting things I've done.
Well, you could also write your inner thoughts. Maybe you can come up with a poem.
Nobody wants to hear those.
Why not? I'm sure it's way more interesting than me asking you how to pronounce Galaga.
Yeah, that's definitely not right. Yeah.
Galaga. It's got to be Galaga.
Yeah.
It's like Gallagher. No one said Gallagher.
It's a person with a speech impediment trying to talk about the comedian Gallagher. Just went to a Gallagher show.
I went to a Gallagher show. Since we last recorded, I attended my very first improv class.
Why didn't we lead with this? This is going to be way more interesting.
Is it? We'll see.
I don't know. To me, maybe. I don't know. What'd you learn? What'd you do? How'd it go?
The class was composed of, I would say, roughly 14 to 16 people. And a good mixture of, ages and whatnot. Some people had done some classes prior at other locations, but most people were brand new to it. And so first we gathered around in a circle, and the teacher just had us say our name, but also do an action of something that is something we like to do, like or just a goofy action that you wanted to associate with your name. And so I would be like, oh, I'm Sean, and I like to play disc golf. And I mimicked throwing a disc with my arm. And so then everyone else had to go, Sean, and then do the same motion. I'm not sure if that was a way to learn people's names, because it didn't help me at all, but I'm not sure if it helped other people. But everyone had to do that. Then I believe after that, we did a game where it was all about working on making eye contact with people and listening and basically receiving a gift that someone's giving to you.
Mm-hmm.
So because I know you did a little bit of improv classes a long time ago, so you can tell me if there's any similarities. But it started off where somebody was holding an imaginary red ball.
Okay.
And so if you had the red ball, you then had to look at someone, and when they were looking back at you, you would say, red ball? And then if that person said, thank you, red ball, then you would pretend to throw the red ball toward them, then they would catch it, and then they would look at someone else, and the exercise would repeat. And then about halfway through, there was a second ball. All of a sudden, someone's got a blue ball. And so you have to pay attention to which ball do you have, if you have one, where's the location of the other ball, and who's looking at you to try to toss whichever ball they have to you, and so forth. And that was just, we did that for a while.
You're like, that was just great. So
improv-y. And then there was a similar exercise after that involving pie, spaghetti, and a hawk.
Hawk.
You sounds familiar? You've done this? Did you do
spaghetti?
Yep.
Yes, I played this game.
Okay, so we'll explain. It's similar to the ball game, except if someone offers you pie by holding their hand out like you're holding a pie tin, then you would have to say, not today, and wave your hands like, no, like I refuse.
Yeah.
Even though you do that, you are now the one with the pie.
Yep.
And you're responsible for now handing it off to someone else. And then when someone offers you spaghetti, they act like they're serving, like they're twirling up some spaghetti on a fork, and they'll say, spaghetti? And then you would say, maybe tomorrow. And you would sort of backwards cycle your hands, I guess. I'm not sure what to call that motion. But and then even though you refuse the spaghetti, you are now the one with the spaghetti. And then you could hold your arm out as though a large predator bird was perched upon it, and you would say, hawk. And then the other person would have to say, come, hawk. And then they would then receive the hawk. And
that one can get very chaotic.
It did. And at some point, once we were done, I said, were there 2 spaghettis at some point? And he's like, yes, there were. Good job on picking up on that. But it figured itself out eventually, you know?
Yeah.
I know that there was sometimes
you can be getting pie, spaghetti, and a hawk all at once.
Well, the thing is,
very confusing.
I'm not sure if the teacher was hoping for that, but it never did happen. I think we were all thinking, well, don't hand this to someone because they already have something. Hand it to someone who doesn't have something.
I think when you're doing it in a bigger group like that, it's probably easier to keep it separated.
It was very easy.
I was very used to when I would do that, it was like 5 or 6 of us. So it could get very chaotic very quickly.
Yeah.
And sometimes we would deliberately try to fuck with each other and try to like throw to the same person a bunch of times just to screw them up. Like sometimes if somebody sent me the hawk, I would send the hawk right back to them. So and stuff like that. And then we'd start to get really like boisterous with it and like maybe tomorrow, and we just get like really crazy with it.
I think if we end up doing these games again, it might get there. But nobody knew each other. We're all just day one, being kind of in shells.
The basic like point of those games is just to get used to receiving and giving. To each other and paying attention and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because if during a scene of improv, if someone tells you or someone says something to you, you want to be able to hear it and then go off of what they said
and be able to respond quickly. And
just so the other person isn't delivering this off to nobody and it's falling on deaf ears and going nowhere. Then I believe the next game we did was we formed 2 lines, line A and line B. And line A, the person in the front of the line was someone who worked at a newsstand.
Okay.
And then the front of the line of line B was a customer of said newsstand. And all you had to do as the customer was go up and just ask if they had whatever you wanted to make up. Oh, I'm looking for one of these, or I'm looking for, name a product, name an item, or a concept, And no matter what it was, the person who worked at the newsstand had to say, oh, yes, we've got one of those right back here. And then they had to give that to them, but then also give them something that could go along with that. They had to come up with, well, if you want this, then I've got another great thing that you would love that would go with it, And then you did that. And then once
upselling.
What?
Classic upselling.
Is it? Yes, of course. That's capitalism at its finest. So once you had a turn, you then got in the back of the other line. So the next time you were up, you were the newsstand employee, and then the next time you were the customer, and so forth. Once that was done, we did a couple rounds of that. Then there was a point where instead of working in a newsstand, you just were walking up to someone. Same thing, 2 lines. You go up, and you're either someone who is holding an imaginary box, and then the other person would say, "What's in the box?" and you would have to just say something that's in the box. And then you, as the person who was asking, would have to go, oh, I would love that. Thank you for giving me whatever was in this box. And then you would go to the...
Did anybody say the severed head of Gwyneth Paltrow?
Nobody said that.
Come on. What's in the box? It's classic.
No, I thought of saying it in that way that he says it in that movie. But I figure everyone's probably done that every class, so I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. So I remember one time when I was carrying the box, I forget her name. She asked me what's in the box, and I said, "Oh, it's all those pre-popped balloons you wanted." And she said, "Oh, yes, for my very sad birthday party." I'm like, "I'm glad you like them. I won't be coming." And then we went to our sides.
That's pretty good.
I also fooled the whole class by making them think, because when I was a newsstand customer, I said, I watched the entire series of Lost. Can I please have that time back? So I made everyone believe that I watched the show Lost.
Oh, wow.
Right? Then I brought it back later because when I was carrying the box and someone asked me what's in the box, I said, it's the entire series of Lost on DVD. I'm glad to be rid of it now. Anyway, that was one thing that was I brought back, but there was another. Someone kept bringing up zebras for some reason.
Classic callback.
As like a callback. Then after that, at some point we took a break in that period, but I can't remember where. But then one of the last things I remember us doing was just, oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay, I forgot about this detail of this game now. We had to go like, what was it? You sort of had to like stay at a rhythm. You got to go, ha. And then I can't remember exactly what it was, but at some point there was one person that had to do a different action. And then when you were next to that person, you had to do a third action. And so the action would get passed to another person. So whoever got that solo action, they would do that. And then the two people on either side of them would have to know to do the secondary action.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't remember the details of what they exactly were. But you had to stay within a rhythm the whole time because everybody else that wasn't one of the three people doing the solo action or the secondary action had to stay in this rhythm of just going like this. And then the teacher kept telling us to pick up the speed of it to try to get you to stumble and stuff like that. Then one of the last things, I think the last thing we did was whenever it got handed off to you, it was your turn to say something. Someone had to tell you to name 5 blanks. Give me 5 states. And then they would finish their 5 states and people would clap. Then that person would point to someone else and go, name 5, emotions or name 5, whatever. And so that was another thing we did. And we did that and people clapped and it was fun. And we'll see. I don't know.
How many classes total do you have?
It's a 6. It'll be 6 total. So I've got 5 more. Yep, 6 weeks every Monday, 7 to 9.
Nice.
I'm at Huge Theater doing improv classes.
Nice.
With some fellas and some dames.
So for the next 6 weeks, next 5 weeks, we definitely can't record on Mondays.
Unless it's after 9 or before 7, like at 5:30. Nah.
Well, there you go. Sean is an improv genius.
I mean, hopefully everyone that routinely listens to this would have known that already.
I mean,
I will say doing this podcast did like sort of retrain that muscle a little bit.
The improv muscle.
Yeah, a little bit. Our little bits of banter and our tangents and whatnot.
Yeah. As glorious and good as they are.
Sometimes they are.
You don't even need these classes.
But again, as with improv, there's no bad ideas or suggestions. They're all good. So you just, you know, every episode is a yes and. Every episode you're supposed to just love it. You're supposed to just receive it.
Yeah.
We're supposed to we give it to you and you receive it.
So I'm not sure if it'll ever come up or if you guys are ever going to do something like this, but if you ever do a sort of a live show thing or something, if you ever play the game, which on Whose Line is called Whose Line, but I'm not sure what other improv places call it, but basically when you have a bunch of lines that are given to you on pieces of paper from the audience.
And this is where there's sprinkles about the floor?
Or you have them in your pockets or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
you just pull them out if you want to see them. Try not to use the line with any sort of caveat on it of like, you know what they always say, or somebody once told me, or anything like that. Try to use the line as just a piece of your dialogue.
Okay.
Because if you're in a scene and you're like, oh, you know what advice my mom always gave me, and then you read the ridiculous line, you are now giving ownership of that weird, ridiculous thing to somebody other than yourself.
Yeah.
And it becomes that it basically gives the weird line an excuse to be weird.
Yeah.
As opposed to if you're just like talking and then like say the weird line, now you have to justify why you just said that weird thing in the scene you're in. And it makes it, I think in that sense, it helps direct the scene where the scene's going to go versus the other way. It can almost just be dismissed as like, oh, what a weird thing this person said.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Moving on. No, I get that. That makes sense. Because I've seen them do that on Whose Line. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes they do it. Sometimes they don't. But you're right. It does just make it so the line can just be weird for the sake of being weird without having to justify it.
Yep.
It's a bit of a cop-out, I must say.
Like it'll probably still get a laugh either way, but I think doing it the other way makes it just gives it the opportunity to be.
Well, the thing is,
a thing that helps the scene move along.
The thing is, if you present it as something someone once told you or something like that,
right?
If you get a laugh, it's the line that's getting the laugh. It's not what you did with it. So I would much rather get a laugh for what I did with the line, personally. Because otherwise, whoever came up with the line is getting the laugh, not me. Just because I'm the one who said it, that doesn't mean it's my laugh.
We could try something like that on here sometime.
Well, those who are
those weird lines, and
we could. That would be. I wonder if there's a way.
We'd have to either because if I wrote the lines for you and then you wrote the lines for me, then we would know what they were, and that wouldn't be as entertaining for us.
So we would have to have listener submitted lines.
We'd have to have listener submitted lines, and then possibly even listener submitted scenarios.
And
like, who are we? What's the scene?
Yeah, and we would have to get them so they are presented to us like at random.
Yes,
because there's got to be some online tool for that. I know that sometimes.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. Like when people on YouTube sometimes do like a giveaway where all you have to do is like be subscribed and leave a comment. They'll just have something that cycles through the submitted comments and just picks one as the winner. So there's got to be a way to have a bunch of text entries or something, and then it just cycles through and lands on one, and then we would have to say that line, whatever it was. That way, none of us maybe would see them beforehand or something. We want to prevent that as best we can. So if anyone out there was ever interested in getting into trying improv classes, this is a little bit of an insight as to my initial experience so far. And I guess I can keep everyone over the next few weeks updated on what we do.
Yeah, because you actually have something going on with your life.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Ain't
it the thing?
I'm currently just looking for apartments.
Yeah, well, you could talk about that.
Well, okay.
You could talk about like ones that were like just awful, ones that were...
I have one interesting development that happened with this whole searching for apartments thing. I don't know how interesting it really fucking is, but...
It's relatable. It's relatable, man.
Sure, everybody looks for places. So we started kind of looking and weren't really seeing anything good. So we're just kind of like, hey, the place we're at now, it's month to month. We've got no pressure to move. Let's just push it off a little bit, and then we'll just kind of keep looking. And if something really great pops up, we'll take a look at it. If not, then whatever. We have no pressure into moving. Get home from work one day, and there's a letter stuffed under my door that our apartment building just got bought by a different company. So we're figuring all that stuff out. I talked to the new property manager. They're going to start doing some updates to the building, all this kind of stuff. She's like, this is what you're paying now. You guys are currently month to month, but we will be having everybody sign new 12-month leases here in the next few weeks. So now we're like, fuck. And I talked to her. I'm like, hey, we've been kind of thinking about possibly moving and all this different stuff. So she's cool with it. She's just like, okay, just let me know what you guys are doing, if you guys are planning on moving or whatever. But new leases will be coming up soon and we'll need people to start signing them, whatever. So now we went from, hey, we have no pressure to freaking move. We're just month to month. We can kind of just figure it out and then move when we're ready, to now we're back on the hunt, trying to figure it out, because it's either we go find a new place or we're here for another year.
Well, since you let them know that you're looking,
yes.
Are you still going to be required by a certain deadline to sign a new 12-month lease, or will they still let you stay on month to month?
So potentially, yes. What I'm hoping, and I haven't discussed it with her again yet, but if we find, because right now we're looking at, if we find a place, it'll probably be like an August 1st.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm assuming if they want us to sign new 12-month leases, it'll be starting in July. So I'm hoping if we can, in the next couple of weeks, find a place and start getting that all moving forward to actually getting a new lease at a new place, that then I'll be able to talk to her and be like, hey, we found a place, but it's August 1st. So we'll just, if it's cool, we'll just do one more month. I'm sure they'll be completely fine with it because they're just taking the building and all that. So
yeah, I don't think they would make you sign a new 12-month lease. And
no
places like my experience with apartments is they want you to give them a 60-day notice to move out anyway.
This place they just told us 30 days for currently at where we're at.
No, but
so I'm hoping that they're gonna be cool. If we find a place here in the next couple of weeks, then we'd be like, hey, that gives you the 30-day window, whatever.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. We're kind of playing it by ear. We looked at a place today. It was all right, and then we had 5 places set up for Monday and Tuesday, but I think it's down to 4 now because one of them the one we really fucking liked got rented out.
I would honestly be surprised if they, especially since you've already been talking to her about it, I would be very surprised if they still just made you sign a new 12-month lease regardless.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how much they could force us to do it, because I think they would even have to give us a certain notice amount of time before they could actually kick us out.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
so
you currently, I guess you're not.
I think
you're not to be honest, on a lease to break. You don't have a lease to break technically in a way.
Because the thing is, I think technically they want us to sign a new lease because they probably want to up rent. So by keeping us on a month to month, they can't raise our rent.
Right.
But I think I believe they have to give us 120-day notice before they can raise rent. So I'm not sure with the new 12-month lease in the next couple of weeks, I don't even think they can raise our rent.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not sure if they can or not.
I don't think so. Look.
Yeah, I believe they have to give us a 3-month notice, 3 to 4 month notice before they can actually raise our rent. But
so
I don't know. There's pluses and minuses to it. Right now, our rent is so ridiculously cheap for this area, and apparently, there's people in this building that pay significantly less than we do because they've been here forever, and they've never, as far as I know, nobody's ever had their rent raised in this building. So
sounds like that's about to change. So maybe there's going to be a lot of people looking around.
Well, yeah, that's the other. We even told her, hey, if one of the 2 apartments downstairs decide not to sign a lease, can we be the first to know? Because we just moved downstairs, and we'd be happy with that.
What's special about the ones downstairs that you would want to consider?
They are not above someone.
Oh, okay.
That's it. We just don't want to live above anybody anymore. That's the whole thing.
You do a lot of jumping jacks, do you?
I personally don't really make a lot of noise, but
your cats do.
Yeah, I own a jackhammer. I haven't been allowed to use it since living up here.
I know. Every time I come over, I want to fire it up.
Yeah, you want to jack my hammer?
Yeah.
Every time you come over.
But you won't
just
let
want
me.
To tie you to bed.
Tie you to bed, get you in your skivvies, jack your hammer.
And start going to town.
Yeah. Watch the debris fly.
Yeah.
Disturb the neighbors. That's all I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, no, we got to be respectful and lawful.
Yeah.
I don't want to get arrested in Chicago, he says, every time.
That is something I do say a lot. I say that every day.
That's the one thing you have in your journal is that every page, every entry is, I don't want to get arrested in Chicago. Where are my skivvies?
Yeah.
You write that question.
Why am I covered in chocolate syrup?
Why do I wake up this delicious every day?
Why does Sean like this obviously terrible movie?
The movie is not the movie is just the way in.
Is that what you tell all your first dates?
Only the ones that are seeing me voluntarily.
The ones you haven't stripped down to their skivvies and tied to a bed.
Right.
Yeah.
The ones that I have
are still here.
It's what?
Don't incriminate yourself.
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Well, yeah, of course.
Of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Preamble. We the people.
You good?
I'm good now. I think I covered it all. I think I'm protected.
You covered the whole Constitution.
I think I'm protected.
So yeah, that's what's going on with me.
Well, good luck.
Oh,
in your search.
Okay. One other shitty thing that happened. Not really that shitty, but so here in the land of Illinois, and we have to get emissions tests done on our cars, which they did away with in Minnesota years and years and years ago.
Never heard of it.
Emissions tests?
Not here.
You've never had to do it. Your parents did back in the day.
Possibly.
Yeah, I've had to go with my parents back in the day to go get emissions tests done on vehicles.
You know, they keep to themselves. It's possible they never just did it. I don't remember any of that.
They would have had to. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to keep their cars registered.
I don't remember ever hearing anyone speak of an emissions test.
But they did away with it well before we started driving.
Right. But I mean, even as a child, I have no recollection of like, we got to go take our vehicles in to get our emissions test.
They probably just never spoke of it.
Possibly.
But they definitely had to do it.
Okay.
Because I literally cannot get new tabs for my car until I get a test done and I pass the test.
Oh.
So my tabs are due in August, but I got the little thing in the mail. You have to go every 2 years. Once your car's 4 years old, then you have to start going every 2 years from there. to get tested. So I'm like, my car's been burning oil like crazy lately. I fear there's something wrong with it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to go get it tested as soon as possible. So on Thursday, I got my oil changed, went and got it tested, and I failed.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So they give you the little code that popped up and everything. And it's the code that popped up is an O2 sensor is failing. So I'm like, fuck. Okay. So I'm looking that up. I'm like, all right, what about is it going to cost to bring my car in and have them replace the O2 sensor? Could range from anywhere from $200 to $500.
Wow.
It's like, what the fuck? So I looked up some videos. I looked up just buying an O2 sensor, about $90 to $100 for the sensor alone.
Sure.
And then I looked up how to change it, and it's literally like a 10-minute job of just unhooking the electrical harness, unscrewing the sensor, screwing a new sensor in, plugging in the harness.
All right.
That's essentially it. The hard part is just getting to the O2 sensor, and then you have to buy like a special socket for it because it's got a cable on it that you can't get a socket over, and
okay,
you can't just put a wrench on it because it's kind of down in there.
It's probably buried in the engine somewhere.
No. So there's, depending on the car, you can have up to 4, I think, O2 sensors. I believe my car only has 2.
Okay.
There's an upstream and a downstream. This is not going to be interesting. But the downstream one is like right by the catalytic converter, and it basically just makes sure the catalytic converter is working properly. I'm not worried about that one. My catalytic converter is less than 2 years old because mine completely plugged up and it had to be replaced, and my whole exhaust had to be replaced. It was like $3,000. It sucked. So it should be the upstream one because that's the one that basically regulates the fuel and air mixture.
Okay.
So that would explain why my fuel consumption's been shit and why there's black smoke coming out of my tailpipe if I accelerate really hard, because it's just not mixing correctly. So it's basically pouring too much fuel in, and then it has to burn off that excess fuel, which causes the smoke. So I'm like, all right. So I basically just have to, I saw where the electrical harness is. So I just have to trace the line down. I was looking at it while my engine was hot, so I didn't get too into it.
Yeah.
But I just have to trace it down to where the actual O2 sensor is. If I can find it easily enough where I can access it, then I'm just going to try to do it myself. Cause I'm like, I don't want to pay potentially, it'll probably be 300. Let me say roughly like somewhere in the middle, 300. Cause it's probably easily accessible. Just one sensor to replace. That's probably how much a mechanic would charge me, is about $300. Cause I'm just paying for the sensor, which they're going to buy whichever one they buy, and they're going to mark it up.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pay for it probably at minimum an hour's worth of labor, even if it takes 10 minutes. They'll charge me a full hour worth of labor. So I'm like, and mechanic labor is ridiculously priced. So I'm like, if I could spend $100 versus spending $300, I'm going to try it.
Right.
And hopefully if I can get it switched out good, and then I'll go back up and get tested again. And if it still fails, then I'll see what the hell's happening next. But
well, and let's say you buy it, the sensor, and you switch it out, or maybe you can't quite figure it out and you still need to bring it in. You've got a new sensor that you don't have to have them order it for you and mark it up.
True.
So,
well, I'll have to buy the socket too, which is like $15.
Well, that's chump change.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's $15 for a socket that I will use one time to loosen, one time to tighten, and then I will have a socket that I will never use for anything ever again in my life. You'll
return it. 30-day return policy.
I think I can rent one.
Probably. Or is there anyone you could, do you know anyone that works on cars that you could be like, hey, do you have this particular?
Not here in Chicago.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. See if you just rent them.
I think I can. I think you put down a deposit, and then they just, as long as you return it within a certain amount of time, you don't even have, like, they just give you your money back.
Right.
You basically, I think they charge you a couple bucks maybe. So I might consider doing that. So I'll probably, I was thinking about looking at it today, but I might just do it. Might do it tomorrow. The good news is I went and got my car tested early enough, so now I basically have 2 full months to get it fixed. And that was kind of the whole reason before doing my test so early, because I'm just like, I fear I might fail it. So if I do, I have plenty of time. If I don't, I'm good. I can just wait until August, buy my new tags, and then I'm good to go. But yeah, as soon as he handed it over to me, he's like, "Oh yeah, you failed." I'm like, "Yeah, I had a feeling I would."
Yeah.
So be it. I just got to get it fixed, and I go back and get tested again. And if I pass, I'm good to go. So, but yeah, I purposely made sure I did not pressure myself into having to get it done like immediately, because then I would probably just bring it to a shop and get gouged a ridiculous amount to have them spend 10 minutes putting a sensor in my car.
Yeah, it'd be $250, $350, something like that, probably.
And it's just like, ugh, what a fucking waste of money when I could probably do it myself. It maybe it'll take me 30 minutes to do it versus the 10 minutes it would take them at the shop to do it, but I'd still be saving myself an ass ton of money.
I forgot. I went to the dentist, and this is
exciting.
I know.
It's been a while.
This is the first time I've gone to the dentist since pre-pandemic times. I don't even remember what year exactly, but I tried calling the place I normally go to, and their bookings were way far out. So then I went online and just submitted a request for my son and myself to get cleanings done. We got into the Bloomington location of the same dental office company, the same name. But I went there. We got seen at the exact same time. My son, about halfway through my appointment, he was already done. They did x-rays and they did his cleaning, and then all of a sudden he was sitting right by me in the same room because he was done. And they did their typical stuff. They take the x-rays, they check your gums for all their strength or whatever.
Make sure they still bleed.
Yeah. And they keep reading off numbers with every half millimeter they move the needle or whatever. And then then they were they were showing me the x-rays and they had a hygienist come and look and say something to me or whatever. And then all of a sudden,
this is amazing. I've never seen a mouth like this ever before.
Well, all of a sudden, first of all, I could tell that the girl was taking the pictures for the x-rays. She must be on the new side because she was having trouble positioning the things right. And also she had to have help because she had to have a couple of them retaken because they didn't get the full root image in the shot or something. And she didn't know how to retake one to have it overwrite the original shot that was anyway. So it took a little while longer than I'm used to. And also she's like, "Oh, you have such a narrow bridge." I'm like, "Yes, I know." Anyway, and then we get through we get through the end of my appointment, and they're just like, "All right, what I thought was going to be the beginning of the cleaning," and they're like, "All right, you can walk." They're like, you can walk him up to the front and get him checked out," and I'm like, "I'm confused. I thought I was coming in for a cleaning." They're like, "Oh no. Since it's been this many years, with kids we don't do this, but with adults we have you do an initial new patient visit, and you just sort of get looked at." And so it's I went in there just to have them look at my mouth and go, "Yeah, you look like you need a cleaning. You should go schedule that and come back another time to actually get the cleaning." And I said, "This has never happened to me before. I've taken not maybe years gaps of going to the dentist, but I've never had to come in for some weird initial visit and then come in for a cleaning after that. This has never happened to me before." And so I was complaining at the front desk because I took a half day of work unpaid to do this. And then they were like, "Well, we can get you in. How about 9 a.m. at this day?" I'm like, "I'm not taking any more work time off for this. Find an appointment that is later in the day enough." And so they were going to try to find me something. So then I called. I'm like, "Well, let me try to call the place I used to go to. Same, it's Metro Dental Care for those who care. It's all Metro Dental Care locations. I get a hold of the one that I used to go to, and they said since it's been so many years since I've been to that location, I would have to come in for an initial new patient visit and fill out new patient paperwork and do all this x-rays and stuff like that. And I said, well, I just did that though yesterday. I said, I just did that. So just get the stuff from the other location. Well, we don't work like that. I know we're all Metro Dental Care and we're all under the same umbrella, but we operate independently. So, you know, you could authorize or we could request that those x-rays get sent over. But if our office decides to use them, then we'll use them. But if not, we'll have to take new x-rays. But so no matter what, even though day prior, so the day prior, I got all this initial new patient stuff taken care of, and they won't consider that, they won't acknowledge that at this other location. So now I'm either stuck just being, at least for the time being, just be committed to this new location, which I had a rough first go, my very first time there. So I'm not really, super eager to head back. But it's either I just start all over again at the place I'm used to, or just commit to this place, at least through this session, so I can. So now, hopefully, because I do have 2 cavities I got to get taken care of.
Because you eat so much candy.
Well, you know what?
Such a candy whore.
In the last several years, I have
candy slut.
I have reduced the amount of candy I eat by a lot. And I
guess you just go candy crazy when I see you, because from the times I've seen you in person, you still seem to consume the amount of candy I've always seen you consume. You tried to give me you tried to claim you bought me an entire box of Red Vines when you were here last time, knowing that you bought them for yourself just to fuck with me. And then the next time I saw you, the entire box of Red Vines was gone, which was the next day.
Look, it's just like one movie theater
less than 12
box.
Hours.
It was like one movie theater box of Red Vines. That's not a lot. But I know I don't do that very often, for the record. I don't do that very often. So it would have been nice for them to say 0, but I wasn't too let down by 2 cavities over the course of a minimum of 5 years of not going to the dentist.
I haven't been to the dentist in at least 10 years. At least.
So you don't know how many cavities you have?
I assume, as far as my mouth feels, it doesn't feel like I have any.
Well, I don't feel like I have any either. You don't always feel, unless it hits a nerve and exposes a nerve, you're not going to feel like you have a cavity. But
they always hit a nerve with me.
No. So you're not going to feel it unless it's that deep where a nerve is exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could have 6 cavities and not know it.
That's very, very possible.
Yeah. Because I didn't go in going, I feel like I've got 2 cavities. Let me see what they say. I didn't know I had any. Turns out I have 2.
That's usually when I go to the dentist, is when something's gotten to the point where it's bothering me, and I'm like, all right, well, I gotta go get this figured out. I want all my teeth ripped out, and I want those screw-in implants or whatever. That's just what I want. I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. Yeah, I might. There's a decent chance I'll have to at least do one of those at some point.
Yeah?
For one of my teeth, but...
Well, I've never had to have a tooth pulled, but I do have 2 crowns so far.
I've had all 4 of my wisdom teeth were pulled out. And the only reason I did it wasn't a spacing issue. It was merely because, one of them, I had one pulled out at one point, and then years later, the other 3 went. So I had one pulled out because it got a cavity on it. It was a pretty bad one. So they're like, well, we could fill the cavity or we could just, it's a wisdom tooth, we could just pull it. I'm like, just pull the fucking thing then. They pulled that out. Then the other 3 had issues. So then I was just like, yep, just get rid of them. Knocked those 3 out in one session. That was rough. And then I had another far back molar pulled because it had gotten, it basically cracked.
Oh.
And then got cavity and cracked really bad. And and they did one time they had just filled it, but the dentist said he was actually really surprised that when they were drilling it out, it didn't affect me in any way, because he had to drill it like all the way down to the root. So then when it ended up cracking again, because it was so fragile at that point, because it was like half tooth, half filling. So he said, well, we can either do a root canal on it and then cap it, or since it's it's the farthest back molar, he's like, we could do all that, which will be like $400 out of pocket, because crowns are only covered like 50%.
Yeah.
He's like, or for like $130, we could just pull the thing. I said, pull it. So on my top right side, I have one less tooth on the top back there.
All right.
But my front tooth, that one's going to have to get replaced at some point.
Is it?
Yeah, because that's the tooth that broke in half, and it's now like hollow inside. It basically just rotted away on the inside, or it's not rotting away, but there's nothing. It's just hollow inside.
Yeah, my
anyway.
None of my wisdom teeth ever surfaced, and so I would have to have them all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're all still in there.
They're all just still up in your skull.
Out. Well, no, they're like laying down up against the other teeth in the back. Like they're like,
oh, weird.
Like,
so they'd have to. Oh, surgery. They'd have to literally cut you open and take them out if they wanted to. Oh, wow. Yep.
So if I ever decided I'm self-conscious enough about my mouth and my smile and all that stuff, and I wanted to get braces, I would do that first. I would get those all removed first.
I would say they probably have to move them, otherwise your teeth wouldn't be able to adjust.
They wouldn't, yeah. So especially the amount they need to. So that's what I would do. And it's just a matter of, do I want to go through that or not?
Yeah, because I know that a lot of times with braces and straightening out people's teeth, they'll usually remove teeth first. Or at least that used to be a practice where they would like remove a few teeth to make everything move easier. I guess they're trying not to do that anymore.
So I went and visited an orthodontist, I would say more than 10 years ago now. And at the time, he said something like that. He said, there's a lot of practice way back when was they would just, like, for example, my two teeth that I guess where they're like one's behind the other one, they call that linear or something. Like they would just yank one of them and just make, so there's that room. But he back then, even over 10 years ago, I want to say it was maybe 2011 or something. He even said, we think that we can get these so they could be arranged without having to take any out. So
yeah, it just might take a little longer, and it's gonna suck, and it's gonna be painful, and you're gonna have to probably do traditional braces. Well,
I know I'll have to do traditional braces because I've been turned down by Invisalign and Smile Direct Club, and there's other things. They said, no, you're not a candidate for us. But
yeah.
No orthodontist will answer this question, and I'm sure it's because they don't want to admit that it would be possible, but I would like to maybe, because if it's like braces for 2 years,
right? I
would like to think maybe I could do braces for a while, and then my teeth would get lined up enough where I could switch to the cheaper something like Invisalign and bail on the braces early. Of course, none of them are saying, yeah, that's possible, or yes, you can definitely do that, because they want you to pay for the full amount.
Well, the good news about that is you can tell them to take off the braces whenever you want them to.
Right.
But I would believe that you'd be paying for that shit all up front anyways.
Well, you might agree to it, and then you can be put on a payment plan. You're not paying it.
But I don't think you taking the braces off would get you out of the payment plan.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
I think once you've committed to, okay, I'm going to be paying for these braces, they're going to be 2 years, you're paying that money whether you keep them on or not.
That would be a discussion with them. to find out.
And then you wouldn't be able to eat any more of the mass amounts of candy that you like to eat because they get stuck in your braces.
During the time when I had the braces on?
Yeah, while you have braces, you can't eat candy.
I don't know. There's got to be ways.
I don't know, man. Swallow it whole, I guess.
Yeah, but what's the fun in that? You could just, I'm sure there's what about like a chocolate bar? You can eat that, right? That's something that would melt away. It's Maybe. Not like there'll be particles.
Sure, there's certain things you can eat, but yeah, you can't eat dots.
Yeah, I don't really go for those much anymore.
Okay, you can't eat Mike and Ike's.
Don't do those too often. Honestly, it's pretty much what I sort of regularly would eat. It seems to have boiled down to like a Hershey bar, a Kit Kat, a Reese's peanut butter cup. That's kind of where I'm down to.
You've gotten into your chocolate phase.
Yeah, we all knew it was coming.
Yeah. I don't often eat candy anymore. Every once in a great while I just get into a phase where I just really want some candy. But it's not very often.
There's just something about chocolate. I get this hankering.
I gotta have it in my throat.
It's pretty much like daily. I'm like, I gotta have a Kit Kat right now. Gotta have a special dark Hershey bar.
I'm so much more of a salt person than a sweet person.
I'm not. But I've always been
once in a while.
I've always had that sweet tooth. Never been much of a savory snacker. I had a pretty hefty Cheez-It phase, and that's kind of gone by the wayside.
It wasn't a phase. It was a Cheez-It lifestyle for like a long time.
A Cheez-It lifestyle.
Yeah, you were living the Cheez-It life for quite some time. It was insane.
Well, we could call it an era, maybe. Or an age. The Cheez-It age?
Yeah, I mean it was like a good Cheez-It decade.
Yeah, that's way less than an age. You know how long an age is?
It might have been more than a decade, but it was definitely at least a good decade of Cheez-It. There was always a box of Cheez-Its somewhere on or around your body.
Oh yeah, and I would buy them. I wouldn't get like the little packs of them.
You'd buy like a pallet. You'd buy like a pallet of Cheez-Its.
I'd go through half a box in a sitting, if not more.
Oh yeah,
I was all poof. It was
pop a little movie on or something. That's a full Cheez-It movie
pop
right
on
there.
A movie, tie myself to the bed, box of Cheez-Its.
Yeah. Pour Cheez-Its all over your body.
Yeah, I try to get them off with
try to hoover them off with your mouth.
Yeah, with my hands bound and my legs bound.
Yeah, and mouth wide open,
just waiting for that salty goodness to fall right in.
Yeah, were you you were always just a classic Cheez-It guy?
Oh yeah, I'm not sure why, but any other form of Cheez-It, it's like it's a Cheez-It, but they have some kind of powder covering that seems to give it the flavor. It always felt like every other kind had some sort of like residue. That
they do the duo boxes or whatever now.
I don't know
of Cheez-Its, where it's like two different flavors in one box.
Oh, I see. Here's how far removed I am. I don't even know about this.
There's like a sharp cheddar Parmesan one.
That's good stuff.
Good. It's pretty good stuff. I was a goldfish guy for a while.
Okay.
But it has to be flavor blasted because the regular goldfish are just bland. There's like no flavor. My
son was very similar when he was about 4 years old. Oh, this was when you were an adult?
Are you saying it like that? You're saying it, yeah, you're saying it to me like that. Like I never had goldfish crackers when I was a child.
Oh, so you did it as a full-grown adult.
They're not a kid snack. They're not just a kid snack. They're an anybody snack.
We'll see.
Don't come at me like in your like highfalutin Cheez-It world.
Hey, those days are behind me. I'm a grown-up now.
Oh, what do grown-ups? If grown-ups don't eat Cheez-Its, then what do grown-ups eat?
I don't know, but where's my Kit Kat?
Chocolate.
Can I have my Hershey bar, please? and graham crackers and marshmallow.
Would you like a little glass of milk too? Do you want some milk to go with that, Mr. Adult?
No.
Drink your big old glass of milk.
Mr. Adult.
Oh, is it milk? I'm sorry, you need chocolate. You drink chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you are a chocolate milk guy, Mr. My kid eat those when he was 4.
I don't drink chocolate milk or regular milk.
You used to drink chocolate milk.
I don't eat cereal.
Well, that's just because you're a pussy.
What is that? That's a measurement of
a real man will eat a fucking bowl of cereal. I ate a bowl of cereal 2 days ago. Come at me, bro.
What kind was it? Do you even lift, bro?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, bitch.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about childish.
Yeah. Hey.
Is that an adult meal?
It wasn't even name brand. It wasn't even name brand.
Matt, it's like Malta. Did it come in a bag instead of a box?
It was probably called cinnamon bread toast. I don't know what it was actually called.
Bread toast. It was cinnamon warmed bread crisp flakes.
I don't know what it was actually called. We've been going a long time here, but to stay on the cracker topic for a second, for work, I usually just buy like a box of, say, Cheez-Its or something like that. I've been eating the Cheez-It wavy white cheddars. Okay. Those are really fucking good. They're very salty, but they're very good. But occasionally I'll get like Wheat Thins. I'll bring a box of Wheat Thins to work, and I just eat. That's what I eat for lunch. I don't eat a big lunch at work because eating too much at work just makes me feel sluggish or tired or too full, and I just don't like it. So I usually just eat a little, like, couple handfuls of crackers for lunch. But every once in a while, I'll go to like Aldi and buy the crackers for work from there.
Sure.
And I always love the like off-brand version, because Aldi, obviously they sell some name brand stuff, but it's mostly all Aldi off-brand shit.
Yeah.
And even at the actual grocery store, you can buy kind of the off-brand stuff. I always love the names of off-brand shit because it's just it's a derivative and it's just stupid.
I know, but you're saying like Aldi's not an actual grocery store.
Well, no, I just mean like they typically don't sell name brand stuff. They just sell their Aldi branded stuff.
Right.
So it doesn't. So it can't be called. They can't sell Cheez-Its. They can't sell Wheat Thins because they don't sell that stuff there. They sell their brand of it, and their brand of Wheat Thins is just called Thin Wheats. Like they didn't even fucking try.
Nice.
So I always love those like off-brand versions. It's like, you know, like our favorite, the Hamburger Helper knockoff.
Yep, we love it.
Hamburger Partner. It's the best.
You know, I've only had actual Hamburger Helper probably less than a handful of times in my life, but I want to try some Hamburger Partner. I want some.
I just want to buy a box of Hamburger Partner and never fucking make it. I just want to have it.
You could make it and keep the box.
Yeah.
Because you know it's going to be in a bag inside the box.
But, you know, unopened box is high. It retains its value longer.
Is that what they say about perishables?
Yeah, you leave it in box.
Leave it in your inbox, unread?
It's Hamburger Partner. It's not perishable.
Simpsons
will survive the apocalypse.
Yeah.
You know, you start buying that stuff now and hold on to it. When the apocalypse happens, man, you're rich.
All the Doom preppers have shelters full of Hamburger Partner and Thin Wheats.
Yeah, Hamburger Partner and beans.
And beans. Navy beans,
large variety.
kidney beans, cannellini beans, chili beans, red beans, black beans. Huh?
Baked.
Those are navy beans.
The best kind of bean.
Yeah, they're navy beans.
Yeah, they come off the vine baked. We talked about this.
I know, but I found out that they are navy beans, so we can't.
They've never served a day in their lives.
They didn't see action.
I never thanked them for their service.
They didn't see action, no, but they enlisted. They volunteered. Okay. They did their minimum tour.
They're like, oh yeah, I served. Like, oh, where did you serve? Like, oh, I was stationed in California.
I was at Sandy's Cookout.
It's one of those. Baked beans are one of those Navy people that never see any action, they go like, oh, I was stationed in Germany.
Yeah.
They're stationed somewhere nice and safe.
I was in a hostel.
They didn't have to go to hostels.
I rode a bicycle.
Like, oh, I had to spend 5 years in Italy serving my country.
Oh, so much wine.
It was awful.
I
had a lot of spaghetti.
Maybe tomorrow. See you next Tuesday. Ciao.
Bella?
Agreed?
Additional Italian phrase.
Bellissima.
Talking to me.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, or Instagram at HSFamousPod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
I don't want my cats staring at my dong.